All right, insurance automating agents. Thank you for joining us for another episode here of software demos and resources that you can use in your agency. We have Michael here with us, who is an agent and a user of a CRM called Agent CRM. I haven't seen this one yet, so I'm excited to see what it looks like. As you know, the best CRM is a CRM that you're going to use. You're going to keep it updated. There's so many options out there today. So having a quick insight, especially a user-led insight, can be really helpful when you're trying to decide, what CRM is going to be best for you. So Michael's going to take us through it, give us a demo, talk about some of his favorite pieces of it, and I'll be asking questions along the way, hopefully questions that you would ask as well, because I've not seen it before either. So Michael, do you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we can get into this demo.
Sure. So my name is Michael Renaga. I have a small agency in the LA metro area with Farmers Insurance, and primarily I've been focusing the past couple of years on commercial insurance, trying to break away out of the home and auto, just because we kind of saw the writing on the wall here in California, and we needed to do everything we can just to make sure that we were staying profitable. So one of the things that I needed was a CRM system that I can use to track my stuff that was going outside of Farmers, outside of Craft Lake, where I can have some real insight into what was going on. Now, I know a lot of people say buying leads is a waste of money, but I've been having pretty good success with buying leads. So I get leads from all web leads. And one of the things that I'll show you in this demo is you can actually kind of track and see what your close ratio is on your lead resources. So right now with Agent CRM, it is an all-encompassing CRM service. It will not only track sales, it'll do marketing, and it'll help you set up sales funnels. So if you want to set up a Google ad or a Facebook social media ad, you can create a landing page, create the form, and everything will go right into the system. There's no need to transfer using Zapier or anything like that. Everything just goes straight in. You can download it, export it however you want. But it's actually a really cool feature. The automation that's in there is pretty good. There are some things I'd like to see implemented as far as scheduling goes with connecting with like iCloud. But if you have Gmail, Exchange, or any of the other online calendar services, this works really well. So with that, let me just kind of give you a quick overview. So on the main page is your dashboard. So like I said, right now I'm only putting my outside commercial in here. So you can see for the most part, like it'll give you an update of where you're at. So I have 92 opportunities that have been put in over the past year and a half, or actually for the past, since January. I don't know if you can see the data here, but it says January 12th to July 13th. So that's what it's been tracking. Same thing, pipeline value, it'll show me what I've put in, what I've won, what I've lost, and what I've closed. And our conversion rate. Now, the conversion rate is a little off because one of the things I was trying to do when we had brought in a producer was we were loading the system in to do a lot of marketing for him for home insurance. So we've put in some leads in there that we really haven't followed up on after the producer left. But let me just show you real quick. Here's my AWL. This is my all web leads. So as you can see, like within the past 7 months, we've put in about 30 opportunities, 19 have 10 still open and lost 3. So I'm closing about 31%. And for commercial policies, that's not bad at all. That's actually pretty good. But you can see, you can create your, whatever you want to track as far as what your referral source is. So if you have a client referral, you could put that in. If you, I even put my hiring in here for the automation, so I can see like ideal traits, who's applying and all that stuff in there as well. So I mean, like you can use this pretty much for anything you want to automate your agency. So anytime that you feel like you need to send out an email or a text, and it's going to be the same message over and over again to different people, I usually put it in here. So any questions so far? software? Anything?
No, it looks good. As far as the all web leads, or like anyone saying that, leads are not worth it or something like that, it really just boils down to how you work your leads. Leads are as good as your process and your system, and it doesn't matter what kind of lead you're buying. As long as you have a good process, you have good automation, you're following up, and you're being consistent, you're going to get value out of those leads. So that was a big thing when I first started as an agent. I was like, oh, I'll never buy a lead, and I buy leads now all the time, every day. And I just learned, that refilling your pipeline, it takes a lot of time. Obviously, there's lots of different types of marketing, like referrals and other things you can do. But keeping that steady flow is awesome. And of course, you're going to have ones that don't convert, but converting 30% of those is great. You probably would never, ever have been able to connect with those people if it wasn't for the lead that you purchased. A lot of times they're way outside of our networks, and they can help expand the networks. But having automation and a system and a process and following up consistently, that's how you convert those leads. That's why CRMs like this are so important. And agents that have them are doing so much better than agents who are doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and having the pipeline set up where it really is just drag and drop, and it'll start that automation process for you. It really does work wonders. You may forget to contact or call or send a follow-up email or text, but the system doesn't, and that's what actually makes this process work. So you can also track, if you are posting Facebook ads or Google ads, you can track that in here. I haven't done anything on social media ads, at least for the past year and a half. I did a lot with our loan officers for referrals. I'll kind of show you what that looks like in a little bit, but we could track all that in here as well. And then obviously my Google page is on here as well, and you can kind of see some of the interaction that we had from there as well. And this is
cool. I like how it syncs in together. That's awesome.
So let me show you real quick. One of the main selling features on this for me was because I was playing in the social media ads in partnerships with loan officers at the time. I wanted something that was easy to build a funnel, easy to build a landing page, and that is kind of where this has kind of gone to. So show you. So what I did was I actually have different funnels set up for my different loan officers. So I would run different ad sets, and each ad set would go to help a specific loan officer. Overall, it was kind of the same. It was kind of the same setup, right? We would go to let's see if I can show you. We would just go to a landing page, and then they would click in. It would start the funnel. It would start the process. They would go. They would fill out their forms. They would send out, answer a couple questions, and everything is all just kind of like drag and drop. Like you just put things wherever you want them.
Web page builder that's built in. That's cool.
So it was very simple, and with having that much control over it, you can also make, situational answer directions. So like if you had someone that reported that they had, poor credit or low credit, I could change the direction of, instead of going to this loan officer, I have someone who specifically works with people who have low credit, and they do credit repair with them, and they kind of walk them through the process. And so all those would just get funneled to that one particular loan officer. Nice. But it was all, it's all set up, and like I said, it's very simple to use, simple to do, and to put together, even for, someone who is a novice. But the other thing too is a lot of this stuff is they have built-in templates that you can use for this. So nice. All you do is just drag and drop, change your name, change the email address, and it's good to go that way. So once that's all set up, obviously it'll go into some sort of funnel. So for example, let's say, I'll just show you my commercial insurance funnel. So I have different categories, as you can see at the top, from where we start. So a new lead is typically something that I will enter if it's something that is not generated through a funnel or through a call through AWL. And then once I have that set up, I'll start moving them to different areas. So for example, like let's look at this one. She is opening up an esthetician shop in Manhattan Beach, and she's in, she's out, she's in, she's out. So as you see, like we'll have a lot of automated text that'll come through here, and it'll follow up with also emails as well. And if I don't hear back from them in a few days, it'll fall over into this category, haven't heard from, and then it'll start the process all over again. So it'll send them a text reminder, hey, we were talking about, your business. Are you still looking for business insurance? Let me know. And it'll repeat that process for about 2 weeks. And then after that, it'll just automatically mark it as abandoned.
Okay.
But usually once they respond, we move it back into talked with, and we just continue to try to work the lead organically. And then after a while, if there's no activity, then it goes back into the haven't heard from file or category. And then I have different other categories just so I can see where I'm at with a certain lead. So, I have discovery where I sent over initial apps. So if I need some more information from the client to figure out where to place the risk, I'll put it in discovery. Risk placement is when I get everything back and I'm sending it off either to a broker to find a home for it. I'll put it in risk placement, and then once I get everything back or I'm needing more information, I'll put it here if I'm waiting for the client to respond, or if I have everything that I need and I just want the client to accept it, I'll move it over here to waiting on acceptance from the client.
So all these stages, are they customizable? So you created these, right, for your agency?
Correct.
But a different agent could have different stages. Yeah,
they could have more, they could have less, whatever works, or I guess whatever makes sense to them as they build it out. So you can kind of see.
Yeah. Okay, these are different pipelines.
Here in my commercial. So, and you can move them up, move them down, add a stage, and all that stuff. So everything is very, very customizable.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then all these have little minor automations in there as well. And then once everything is done or bought, we close it out as one, and it'll send them a blanket email and text, so we'll just say, hey, we hope you were happy. We hope we made this process easy. And then it'll also invite them to leave us a review. So we have a landing page set up where they can pick whatever review site they want to go to, Google, Yelp, Facebook, I think, and Nextdoor. And those are the areas where they can leave a review. And we also encourage them by email, especially if they have a business, to, hey, follow us on Instagram. Let us know what your Instagram handle is so we can have that interaction as well. Because we feel that as we try to focus on ensuring small businesses, so we want to do everything we can to help promote small businesses. So every time we see a post from theirs, we'll share or comment or like or whatever like that, just to get the engagement going on their pages as well. We try to be as interactive as possible.
Yeah, great idea. We always we send them a request to give us a review, but then we go review their business as well. We've always done that, so then they get an extra review from us, because it's a lot of it, of course, is their business is just like ours. We're trying to market, we're trying to build social proof, helping them with that. Always awesome.
And I mean, like I said, you have this conversations tab or section where you will have like phone numbers. So if anything comes in through our phone line, it'll automatically create a new account. We just enter the information here. And then if it's something that we want to work on, we'll create an opportunity, or, a lot of times we could just clear it if it's like spam or, junk phone numbers that come through.
Yeah.
Calendars, same thing. a lot of it is done with automation. So you can pick different calendars for your different funnels. So you can set, like if I only want to talk with life insurance people from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., my calendar for life insurance will only have that available. But if I want to do commercial all day, I'll have, commercial availability all day. So like I said, I don't use the calendar function as much as I should because most of my stuff is done through iCloud. And I've kind of reactivated Calendly, which is kind of a waste of money because it's all built in here, but only because Calendly syncs with my iCloud and I don't really want to move everything over to Gmail. I've used a third-party service that syncs everything, but it doesn't work well. So I'm lazy right now and I don't want to move everything into.
That's always a big thing to take into consideration with CRMs is like what integrations they have that are direct and indirect. And then if you want to make changes, because ultimately like it's more beneficial to use everything that will directly integrate. But sometimes that can be a lot of work to make that change within the agency itself. So I get it. Like that's cool that this is built in, that it can replace Calendly. Does it have reminders and stuff like that? Like Calendly does, like the emails, the text messages, the workflows, that kind of stuff.
And you can make them as intense or as little as you want.
Nice.
So let's go into the automation section. So, you can create different campaigns for your automation. So like I was talking about when I was doing work with loan officers, I had different automations set up. So when a customer fills out a form for that particular loan officer campaign that I'm running, we'll set up automations where it'll notify that loan officer. It'll send them an email, it'll send them a text, instantly saying, hey, John Smith just filled out this form. They're looking to buy a home. This is their price range. Reach out to them. And at the same time, it'll also send out a email to the person who filled out the form, doing a kind of warm introduction to that loan officer saying, hey, this is going to be Frank. He's going to be calling you from this office. He'll talk to you about this, and this, and let you know what your options are. If you don't hear from him in the next 24 hours, feel free to reach out to him, email him, whatever. But you make the introduction so not only via text and via email, because a lot of times now with phones, if the phone number that the person is calling from is somehow connected to an email signature or a text message, it'll show up underneath like possibly Frank Delgadillo, right? Because it's connecting that number to something that was previously received. So when the loan officer calls, ideally their name's going to show up that it's not a spam call, right? So it'll have some sort of connection, and so that's why we set it up that way.
Gotcha.
But all these things, the campaigns are all set up by different triggers that happen within the stage. So, if there is something that happens, like I said, where we have someone where they have below fair credit, we'll set the trigger up and it'll send up another campaign out to another loan officer. If they are a homeowner, and they're looking at refinancing, it'll set up a different type of campaign compared to just a standard, are you looking to buy a home? And all this stuff is just, it's all easy to kind of put together. It just takes time, and you got to be patient with the process because there are different things that you need to set up for it to run the way you want it. Remember, like any good system, it'll do exactly what you tell it to do, but you have to tell it what to do, and you have to make it very clear on what you do. So with the system, you can add different tags to, basically to apply to answers that were given. So on the survey that was submitted, if someone had put down that they had, low, poor credit, it'll give them a tag of credit repair. And that credit repair tag will then start a new automation. So everything that's built in, you can modify it to the way that you want. Let me show you.
So with Agent CRM, do they train you on this, teach you, like, is it a training library? How do you learn to use it?
It's a training library. So just
Okay.
like if you're familiar with any of the major, I guess, insurance coaches out here, they'll put video of different sections up, and you kind of just watch what you want to do. But they also have a team within this group, within the branding group, who will build funnels for you. You just give them direction. So
Nice.
if you don't want to deal with it and you're just like, I just want someone to do it for me, I'll pay them because my time's worth more actually working the lead versus trying to figure out how to add tags and set up automations and triggers. They'll do it for you. But again, there's a lot of stuff that's already built in, like it's just plug and play. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel on every single thing that you want. In fact, what I do most of the time is I just kind of go in to see what's in there with the templates and make changes, reword things, maybe add or take away touch points on it. So let's see.
And I think a lot of people too get worked up about the automation and then making sure that it sounds exactly like them. Like at the end of the day, with automation, keep it simple, keep it short, make it personalized. That's where you're going to get your best engagement and responses. And don't overthink it too much. I actually had, when I first started doing automation, I had some typos in my emails, not like on purpose. It was just an accident. I just didn't catch them. And it was brought to my attention later. And then I was like, I think I'm going to leave it because I want them to think that I sent this email to them. And typos happen, right? When you're individually emailing people throughout the day. And they weren't horrible typos. They weren't, bad. That was like one letter or something. But it made it feel a little bit more personalized and more real versus automated. And in my experience, the more automated the communication looks, the lower the open and response rates are. So just anyone who's watching, like, it's awesome that there's templates in here that you can go in and use. And I think your approach is right. Read through them so you know what's being sent. And if there's anything big that catches your eye, maybe make an adjustment, but don't overthink it. Like let it run, because ultimately if you have no CRM and you're going to a CRM, even if the templates aren't perfect, it's still going to be better than what you're doing today because there's going to be so much more follow-up.
And it's funny. I think you kind of touched on a good point, is that there are so many companies that use AI for their automation that people, when they get a message, they kind of assume that it is just AI, interacting with them, or just a blanket text message or something like that. So I've had people who respond back, and because I can see the conversation, I can jump in at any time and go, yeah, no, this is Michael, and they'll be like, oh, what's the weather like? And I'm like, well, I'm over here and it's raining. And so they're like, oh, I thought it was a bot. So, but you have the opportunity to jump in at any time without disrupting the automation, unless you set it to stop during an interruption. So
Stop on reply. Yeah.
But
I had a mortgage lender that I was reaching out to that was kind of similar. He was receiving our campaign and he eventually replied and he goes, I thought this was automated, but you're clearly emailing me directly. And I'm like, joke's on you, buddy. That was automated. But that's because they looked really specific. They were really personalized and it followed the flow, right? The fact that he'd kind of been ignoring me and it mentioned that in there. And so, just be yourself. Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to look like this beautiful HTML email. Like if they're just plain text and you're sending those out to people and they're personalized, that's going to be your best open and response rate.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is you can actually see, on the campaigns, like how things are going. So like for my insurance new business follow-up, we've got like 13 people out of the 24 who have replied. So we're getting like a 54% reply back on something that was lost or abandoned. We'll send them an email saying, sorry, I guess we weren't able to help you, or you decided to look elsewhere. If there's anything that comes up in the future, feel free to reach out. And we'll have people who will email us back and go, oh, you know what, sorry, I just got carried away doing something else and I totally forgot. And they'll email us back and we'll put them back in the cycle, just because they are still looking, but we would never know unless we sent them those email. And even like the one where I told you where we didn't have contact with them, like where they just dropped off the face of the earth before we closed them out or put them as abandoned. 7 out of the 27 that replied said that, oh no, they're still looking. So if we didn't have this automation set up, that's 7 potentially new policies that we wouldn't have an opportunity to get if we just let it die.
Well, and
And
that's
this is
we were just looking at data from just January to now, right? So we're only looking at like 7 months of data.
right.
Think about how long we've been agents for. Like I've been an agent for 10 years. I've had a CRM for almost 5. And I'm like, the first 5 years, the amount of data, the amount of opportunities I missed, oh my gosh, I just kick myself because it sucks. And I know agents who've been agents for, 25, 30 years, and they're just getting a CRM. And to think about the number of leads they'd be able to recycle, the number of opportunities that fell through the cracks without a system in place, sometimes it's hard to swallow that. And I've talked to agents that, are like, oh man, the time it takes, or it costs money to add a CRM, or do they have some concerns? And all I can think of is like, if you had this on day one, if you had built it on day one, do you think you would be grateful that you did it today? And if the answer is yes, then you need to start now, because every day that you don't have it, you're basically kicking yourself, right? You're working a lot harder than you need to. You're wasting a lot of marketing money that you don't need to because you're not maximizing it. I mean, we've been working our leads for 3 years. We just upped it to 10. We're going to recycle people for 10 years unless they say, take me off your list, right? I mean, why not? They're still getting our communications and they're not asking us to take them off the list. Their life will change. These still looking people, same thing, right? Those 7 people, maybe they, had car trouble or their kid got sick or whatever happened in their lives. They had a hiccup that just prevented them from getting back to you right away. Historically, and on average, an insurance agent works a lead twice. Like they place 2 phone calls and they give up.
Yep.
So agents like you, agents like me, agents that have a CRM and we're trying for 6 months or a year, we're trying for several years, like we're going to take all those opportunities from you guys. If you're only calling your leads twice, you need a CRM.
And that was, and one of the things you kind of talk about, like, did I want to invest the money in a CRM? What I started looking at is if I had paid someone to be in the office to do all this for me, how much would it cost me to have that person in here to do it? And basically what it comes down to, because I think at the time when I first signed up, I think I was paying $50 a month for Agent CRM. I don't know what it is now. I think it's like $99. But like $50 a month, that's 1 day. And it will do this all month long for me, for every new person that I bring in. The ROI on it is there if you use it. But I mean, that's true with any tool, right? But you just have to be committed to using it. And for me, like I said, I'm using it primarily just for my outside of farmers commercial business. Actually, I take it back. It's not even outside farmers. Like farmers goes in here too. I just want to track commercial because that's the area that I'm focusing on. But yeah, it's here, and there is, the opportunities. Like I said, when you create a campaign, the campaigns themselves are simple as well. You can pick how often it goes out, how many days, and it'll give you the reports on, delivered, opened. If you put a link in there and then click it, all that stuff is in here as well. So, I mean, without going into like all the nitty gritty of the system, and like those are the main things that I use this for. I use it, number 1, to track my sales. Number 2, to do the automation to make my sales process easier. And number 3, to use it to kind of put out landing pages, funnels for people to, find out like what they're looking for. So if I'm using it for helping loan officers, I set up the funnels that way. If I do it just for my own personal site, as a landing page, like if I'm posting something on, a local Facebook page, I'll use my link. That'll just kind of have different links in there to my Facebook page, to a quick questionnaire form, to my Canopy Connect, so I can, if they want to download their insurance information and send it to me, it's all right there. It's easy for them to use, and all that stuff gets put into here. So it really is a great tool. And like I said, I really like this program, and I like the group that's behind it because they give you support, they give you templates. I mean, the guy Alex is very good at having all that stuff available to you. So I'm going to show you just real quick. Like, this is their click and play assets. You just look what you're looking for. They have stuff in here with different kind of funnels, different kind of workflows. They even have stuff that's branded for different companies. He actually has something for farmers agents. It's pretty basic. So like I said, it's a template. You start with it, everything's there, and you just, color it up a little bit, make it more to reflect your agency and all that stuff. But all that stuff is built in.
Yeah, so that's super handy, because that's the majority of like the work with a CRM. Of course, getting your own leads and your own data in there, but tweaking it, making it feel like yours, and having your workflows. When I first started getting into automation, what I was surprised to learn is that most agents don't have a workflow. They don't have a process. I would ask agents, how often do you call your leads, or how many times do you email or text, and how long do you work your lead? And all of them would just say, what do you recommend? Like, I don't know. They didn't have a process. That was really surprising to me. It was kind of like they were just, their producers and stuff were drinking out of a fire hose, just whatever came at them, they tried to work, but so much got pushed off to the side because they didn't have a process. And that alone, I mean, even if you didn't have a CRM, if you just implement a sales process in your agency, you'll see better results. And then if you take that process and put it into a CRM, you're going to see exponential results. When you're talking about hiring a staff member to do this for you instead of using a CRM, don't even think about maybe the payroll you have to pay, but think about retraining when that employee leaves, because turnover happens, right? Our employees all love us, and I know they plan on staying forever, but sometimes life gets in the way and they don't stay forever. So with the CRM, you build it and basically teach it one time, right? You might decide to make tweaks or adjustments based on what you learn in there, but it just keeps doing it day in and day out. It's not going to get up and quit on you one day and say, I'm not going to work for you anymore. And now you have to train another person to do all of these processes. It actually really helps with staff training too. You mentioned you were running leads through it for a producer. If you can put your producer in front of a pipeline and say, these are the stages of our sales process, follow this. It's going to reach out for you. It's going to provide automation. There's so much power in that. And these days, employees, they expect good, clean, easy systems and clear expectations so they know how to do their jobs well. With this big push with remote workers, think about, what your options are. If you have a CRM that your employee, if you hire remote one day, they can just plug right into this. They don't need to be in your agency. That just sets you up for that as an option if you needed it. So I really believe that CRMs are needed in every agency. I obviously like Agency Zoom, Agent CRM. There's so many other ones out there too. At the end of the day, do your research and pick the one that you are going to use, because it doesn't matter how great it is. If you won't use it, it's not worth anything for you.
And obviously everyone has the things that they really love about their CRM. And there's things that a lot of people would want within their CRM, and some CRMs have it, some don't. So think about what you're actually going to do, not what you necessarily want to do, but what you're committed to do. I know for me, like I said, my main things were at the time were building funnels, creating landing pages, and I wanted to track sales. So for the price, everything that was built in here, it worked out really well, because it is a ClickFunnels template. So if you already have ClickFunnels set up, you can easily import all that stuff into this system. So, but do what makes sense for you, and whatever you commit to learning it. Learn it as much as you can before you say it doesn't work. Because I guarantee you, those that commit to learning it and working it, it pays off. I know it's so easy for insurance agents to be like, after 90 days, well, I don't see an ROI on it, and just give up and try to look for the new shiny toy. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works. It's all about being consistent, because you've got to see it through. Because if you're saying it doesn't work, but you can't figure out why it doesn't work, then the problem isn't necessarily with the tool that you're using, it's the user.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the great thing about a CRM. If it's not working the way you want, you just keep making tweaks and adjustments until you're getting the results that you're looking for. It is a kind of a living, breathing thing too. When I say you build it and it just keeps working for you, it doesn't mean that you're not tweaking things. I've had my CRM for, like I said, almost 5 years, and I have, I think we're on our 4th iteration of different automation flows that we've tested and adjusted, because we find that some things work better than others. Some subject lines work better. Sometimes having an emoji in your text message works better than other times. You got to know your audience, of course, and make sure you're sending that stuff to the right people. But using those little extra pieces, sending GIFs or videos or emojis inside of your conversations, does it help your engagement? Does it increase your open rate? You get to test that out in a CRM and then readjust if it's not giving you what you want. So it really is kind of a living, breathing thing. But once you have it built, I would say, if you spend kind of an hour or so once a month, kind of going through it and tweaking it and adjusting it and learning from it. In a year, you're going to be an expert in your CRM and your agency is going to operate so much better. This is a really cool tool. I like that it has the sites. Not a lot of CRMs that I've seen have that built in. So if you're doing a lot of social media marketing, a lot of Facebook marketing, then that's a great extra feature of Agent CRM, because otherwise you do have to build those somewhere else through a different service.
Right.
Yeah, well, thank you, Michael. Anything else that you think that people should know about Agent CRM if they're considering this tool?
Honestly, I would just say if you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. Just tag me in a comment, and I'll respond to you. But I would say I would recommend anyone try it. And I know they have, I think, a free trial for 30 days for you to kind of just dip your feet into it and kind of see what it does and will it work for you. So take advantage of any free trial that you can get and see how it works. And like I said, continue pushing, and this goes for everyone, obviously, continue pushing your comfort level in getting into CRMs and AI and all that stuff, because you're going to be way ahead of the curve on everyone else, even just by implementing one little feature, because it takes so long for the industry as a whole to move into that market. If you're ahead of the game on it, you'll see it.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with you. The penetration of CRMs in the insurance industry is just still so tiny. There's like hardly any agents that have a CRM right now. Think about too, like if you're the agent, with no CRM and the agent down the street from you has one, what do you think your chances are that you're going to be able to compete? Like if you're on the fence, think about that. Think about the agent next door having this and you not having it. That alone is enough motivation for me to be like, oh man, I got to have it. Because if they have it, I'm already behind.
One thing, and I just want to point out, because I forgot to talk about it, but within the CRM as well, there is, you do have a voice over IP phone number attached to it. So you can even set up in your campaigns, I don't do it, but you can set up to do like ringless voicemails and all this stuff. So if you're shy about picking up the phone and actually talking to people, but you still want to make that voice connection, you can set up the campaigns to do a ringless voicemail as well. So nice. For those of you who are phone shy.
Man, if you're phone shy, I don't know if insurance is for you. That might not be the right career choice, but that is a cool feature. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time to show us Agent CRM, and I will get this, up, and people will be able to see it on our social media channels as well as on YouTube. And so they might be reaching out to you as well. If you guys want to go direct, the website, I pulled it up, it is agent-crm.com. On their website, it says they have a 14-day free trial, and then the software is $97 a month after that. With everything that you're seeing here, it doesn't look like they have any tiers of the service. It's just like if you have access to everything. That's what it looks like, at least based on the website. Don't quote me. Obviously, I don't work for these guys or anything, but check it out. That's the website you can go to, do that 14-day free trial, see if this is the right CRM for you. Thanks again, Michael. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mariah.